Young boy came back like they left him for dead.
What's good, double gang? You know what I'm saying? I'm back with a video, you dig? And today we reacting. Yes, we're reacting to what is it? 9 most ingenious thefts in history or in the world. One of the two. So yeah, we just finna see what's not smart about these thefts they didn't try to commit or committed. So let's go right now.
Hi everyone! We all have seen at least one movie or series about daring robberies. In the movies, thieves usually plan their heist very thoroughly. Each second counts. Of course, this rarely happens in real life. A lot of things can go wrong, and thieves, as a rule, end up in prison. But sometimes their brilliant plans do work, and today, we will tell you all about them. Let's get it on! $1 million pharmacy robbery. Pharmacies are one of the most favorite places for both beginner and experienced robbers. Usually, the reason for this is rare and expensive drugs that can be resold at a triple price on the black market. And these criminals are well aware of this. Thanks to their caution and ingenuity, they managed to hit a jackpot when robbing a pharmacy. On the early morning of December 31st, 2015, 2 large masked men broke into one of the pharmacies in the Texas city of Euless through the window. They successfully bypassed the motion sensors and found the safe storing expensive drugs. The criminals seemed to know the area quite well and knew where the sensors were located. That's how they managed to spend more than 2 hours inside totally unnoticed. One of the robbers began to drill the safe, using special cough syrup to extinguish sparks.
Crazy.
By the way, the safe was purchased by the pharmacy owner shortly before the incident with the purpose of protection against robbery. Obviously, it didn't help. In the end, the 2 robbers managed to escape with medicines worth about $1 million. Managers of the pharmacy said they had break-ins before, but not one of them was so carefully planned. According to the information from the media, the criminals were never caught. Apple Store robbery. The American tech giant Apple is known for always being ahead of the competition in terms of sales. New products released by this company have always prompted competitors to create something equally cool and thus stimulated the growth of the entire industry. Well, since Apple is so cool, their offices must be equipped with some incredibly sophisticated anti-theft systems, right? That would be the logical thing to do for a brand that came up with so many different anti-hacking tools. Turns out, this is not the case. A couple of years ago, these 4 guys managed to steal several laptops and phones from an Apple store in broad daylight. Moreover, it happened in California, where the head office of the company is located. You can see in the video how the robbers grabbed the laptops from the table while other shoppers simply stood by with their mouths wide open. No one's trying to stop these guys. No fancy alarm system is triggered. It took the thieves about 30 seconds to finish their job. In the end, all 4 offenders managed to escape from the scene of the crime with gadgets worth almost $30,000. Thankfully, shortly after the incident, local police detained the suspects. Turns out they were responsible for a series of similar thefts in other American Apple stores. ATM explosion. Do you think it's easy to break open an ATM? It's actually not. There were instances when criminals stole the entire ATMs and tried to open them for several hours in a row without any success. The biggest challenge is, of course, opening the safe, especially if it has to be done right at the crime scene, and not after transporting the machine to some secure location. Perhaps the most effective way is to blast the ATM, but it requires very serious skill. One small miscalculation and the devices will either remain intact or the cash inside it will be torn to pieces. In addition, most ATMs have special temperature sensors, which immediately warn the private security company. To prevent this, experienced criminals use gas explosions that do not raise the temperature of the safe. In any case, the criminals in this video work so fast that the guard would not have time to catch them even if they really wanted to. It took the gang only 1 minute to rob this ATM. By the way, in recent years, years, ATM robberies have become one of the most common types of crimes in the world. Why can't banks come up with more reliable protection for their ATMs? According to experts, upgrading the machines costs so much money that it makes more financial sense to accept some possible losses from robberies. Therefore, we'll never get rid of these kinds of robberies. Stealing an ATM with a digger. Some criminals are skillful enough to even steal entire ATMs. A group of robbers from Northern Ireland decided to steal a digger to tear an ATM out of the wall of a gas station. During this robbery, which happened in the city of Dungiven, the criminals stole the ATM and then put it in a van, which was also stolen, of course. In order to place the stolen ATM inside, the criminals cut off the roof of the van. Pay attention to how skillfully one of the thieves handles the bucket. He loads the ATM right into the van with one easy movement. The most interesting thing is that for the last year, several similar crimes occurred in the country. One can only hope that criminals from other countries will not be inspired by an Irish gang of creative robbers. Stealing Tesla. Is it possible to steal a car that costs more than $100,000? You'll probably say yes, but it won't be easy. Now look at this video. It was recorded by a smart doorbell installed in a house in the British city of Borehamwood. The video shows how two criminals bypass the security system of an expensive car in less than 1 minute, then open it and drive off as if nothing had happened. By the way, it was the owner of the stolen car who posted the video online. He was shocked how such an expensive car can be so poorly protected, and we get it. How did the robbers manage to pull this off? In fact, it wasn't that hard. All Tesla cars are equipped with a special passive entry function. This means that the receiver installed inside constantly picks up the electronic key signal of the car owner. He doesn't even need to press any buttons. The car unlocks as soon as the electronic key is nearby. You probably thought that the criminals simply reproduced the signal of such a key. Not really. In fact, they simply knew that most drivers store car keys near the front door. So they approached the door, then one of them used a transceiver with a signal amplifier to relay and amplify the key signal, and the doors of the Tesla opened. If the key were in the house, this trick would not work. But in this case, the plan of the criminals went smoothly. TV under dress. We bet you haven't seen something like this before. When it was clear that no one was looking at her, this woman calmly picked up a plasma TV and hid it under her magnificent dress. How she managed to move around freely with this load is a big mystery to us. Or maybe the TV fell out from under her skirt somewhere on the way.
What do you
We'll
mean?
never know. Skirt with jewels. Turns out this type of theft happens more often than you expect. Here is another similar story. While the assistants of this criminal are distracting the jewelry store consultant, the woman is stealing the expensive jewelry. At some point, she simply picks up a whole tray with jewelry and hides the contents under her skirt. According to some estimates, she stole jewelry worth almost $60,000.
Godly.
Brazilian Central Bank. Carefully planned bank thefts happen not only in the movies. For example, in August 2005, a group of experienced Brazilian criminals managed to steal nearly $70 million from the Central Bank of Brazil in Fortaleza. They stole so many bills that their total weight reached 3.5 tons. And the height of the stacks reached 33 meters. The criminals broke into the bank on the weekend when it was closed. However, the preparations took several months. In the spring of the same year, they rented a house near the bank, from where they began to dig an 80-meter tunnel. The fact that the local soil was soft only helped them. The criminals also possessed knowledge in engineering, electronics, and hydrology. Also, they were helped by someone who worked in that bank. In order not to raise suspicions among the neighbors, the criminals put up a sign indicating it was a landscaping company selling artificial grass. It was necessary to somehow explain the van loads of soil removed daily. After they finished digging the tunnel, which, according to experts, turned out to be a real work of art, the criminals had to get to the bank vault. The gang had to break through more than 1 meter of steel-reinforced concrete to enter the vault. In order to get inside, the criminals used equipment for cutting ceramics, electric saws with diamond blades, and jackhammers. The operation, which lasted about 7 hours, went flawlessly. Not a single alarm got set off. The theft was discovered only on the 8th of August. By that time, the criminals already fled in an unknown direction. They had almost 2 days to escape. Over many years of judicial investigations of the planning, complicity, and implementation of the crime, 36 people were convicted, but so far, only 27 have been caught. Most of the stolen money is still missing. Hatton Garden Deposit Burglary. One of the most daring robberies in history happened in the UK in 2015. It was made by a group of elderly men who had drilled the concrete wall of the Hatton Garden safe deposit, which stored cash and jewelry. To enter the depository, the criminals drilled a giant hole in a 50-centimeter concrete wall using an industrial-grade drill. They entered the premises from a nearby elevator shaft. The value of the stolen things amounted to about £14 million. That is, more than $18 million. Interestingly enough, the crime was committed on April 2nd, in the midst of Easter. This date was chosen for a good reason. During this period, all financial institutions in the UK are on the so-called bank holidays. Even though the robbery plan turned out to be truly ingenious, the criminals couldn't escape from justice. As experienced robbers said later, the gang did not have the knowledge and ingenuity to cover their tracks. After the crime was committed, they all continued to communicate with each other and did not monitor their mobile phones. Because of this, they were caught quickly. By the way, they even shot a full-length film and a mini-series about the Hatton Garden robbery. That's it for today, and see you soon!
Well, y'all, that was the end of the video. As you can see, those was 9 most ingenious thefts in history. So, hey, take it how you want it. You can say they was dumb, you can say they was smart. Some got away, some didn't. So, hey, so what y'all think? Like if you like, and subscribe if you want more. It's your boy, the Lil J, and I'm out.
Saved us to bullshit hard like a rock, it won't change us. Behind my mans, I got a date, I won't change her. I put that shit on his mama.